Yeah, I don't really have a script of this one because I didn't really want to make one because it was so like fucking real, I guess. Um, the title of this video is going to be different to like what I'm thinking of making it, but the topic of the video is kind of the same. It's the topic of being more disadvantaged than people around you, and it could be any fucking environment. Maybe it's in school if you're a little fucking jit. You're busting your fucking ass off on your shitty little studies, which we'll never do again. No offense. And you're working harder than everyone around you, and you're not getting results. People around you who are not working as hard as you, they're getting results. Maybe it's in your training. You're optimizing your diet. Your training's on point. You're eating clean as fuck. You're still making no fucking progress. Or maybe you are, but not as fast as other people who aren't putting in as much work as you. But the main thing is like in life you're less fortunate. Maybe you had like a tough upbringing when you were younger, and that's still held true to this day. And people around you, they've had easier lives, and it fucking hurts because they're your peers and shit, and life just feels unfair. And I fucking get that. Man, that's real as fuck. I get that shit a lot, bro. But there's this idea that I've always like kind of liked. I've never really thought about it a lot when I was a little younger, but as time has gone by, I started to think about it more. It's the idea of God's warrior, a warrior of God. What is a warrior of God? It sounds fucking sick. What does it mean? Um, to me, it means like someone who goes through extreme adversity, yet he comes out maybe not unscathed, but he comes out at the end of it with his head held high and his faith firm. It's fucking cool as shit, right? It sounds sick as fuck. But to become a warrior, it's not like some fucking pissy little, easy achievement. It requires a lot of fucking hard work. It requires a lot of suffering. What I'm trying to say is to become a warrior or to become someone who's favored by God, you're tested more. God's favored are tested. In our religion, at least, in Islam, if you're tested more, you go through more hardship, you go through more suffering. God has favored you more, He's loved you more. People who aren't loved as much by God, they aren't tested as much. And when you realize that it's a gigantic fucking it's a gigantic fucking mindset change, I guess. And what you're tested in can be different, bro. Maybe, for example, you didn't have a mother or a father. Maybe you didn't have both of them. Maybe you had your parents, but they beat the fuck out of you. Maybe you had both parents and they loved you, but you didn't have any money. That's one of my issues. Maybe you have an issue with drugs or alcohol. Maybe you get abused physically or sexually, God forbid. Maybe you have an issue with lust or money or gambling, whatever. The fuck, it can be anything, bro. But no matter what that suffering entails or what it is, you need to understand that to become someone greater, it requires suffering. People who suffer more, they grow more. Because suffering is adversity. Adversity, it forces growth. And God has given you more suffering than the rest. What you need to realize is, and this really fucking helped me, bro. This really helped me. You aren't just given the suffering for no reason, my G. Like, you're given suffering by God because you were chosen to suffer. Number one, you were chosen to suffer, but number two, and what could possibly be the more important part is, God gave you the suffering knowing full well you have the ability to get through it, to come out on top on the other side, per se. And having this fucking legendary mindset, it's a legendary mindset. Having that mindset is so important because it accomplishes two things. Firstly, when you adopt the mindset, when you see people like those people who have easier lives than you. Now, for the record, so we can just talk about this. I don't speak on like they have an easier life than me, but in reality they don't. They just hide it well. I'm not talking about that. There are times where that is the case. Well, majority of the time is actually the case, but I'm talking about that minority time when you know damn well these guys do not suffer like you. I'm talking about that. And when you see these people, wherein before you'd resent them, like it hurt your fucking soul because you don't know how much I fucking hurt. You don't know what it's like. Now it's more of a, you aren't favored as much as me. You aren't tested as much as me. You aren't chosen to suffer what I was chosen to suffer for. If this was you, you wouldn't be able to hack it. That's why you ain't going through it. But I was chosen for it. And that is it may, depending on who you ask, it may be a bad mindset. I think it's a good one personally. But with this mindset, you can use it to do the second thing I wanted to talk about, which was cough, cough. The second thing I wanted to talk about was when you hold that mindset of, I was chosen to suffer. What happens is, now that you know that you've been chosen to suffer and that God knows that you can get through it, now that you know that, you will get through that adversity. Whatever it is, you can overcome it. And you're more inclined to overcome it. You're more inclined to push through the pain period because you realize that, I can get through it and it's painful and people will tell me to stop, but no, there's an ultimate goal that I want to achieve. That goal I think about every day, that what I want to become. To get to that goal, I have to go through the pain period with my confidence and, my ability. Yeah. It's kind of, that's real as fuck, bro. I'm just yapping at this point. My bad, bro. But yeah, that's it really.